Do you struggle to get people to remember you and your brand? What if your brand's message was so clear, so compelling that people not only remembered you, they also couldn't stop talking about you and your brand? And while they're talking about you, they're referring you and sharing your hard work, all while you aren't even around. That would be nice, wouldn't it? People sharing your book and your business while you're not even there. Well, stay tuned. In this video, I am going to give you a step-by-step formula to creating brand messaging pillars that will speed up trust with your audience, it will make you memorable, and it will give you an unforgettable brand experience that's impossible for people to ignore. Hey, welcome. If you're new to this channel, my name is Andrea Reindl. I am the founder of Legacy Creative and a brand strategist. And here on this channel, we talk to visionaries and teams that support them to help them get their ideas clear, make them real, and watch them grow. If you're tuning in again, welcome back. And if you're new, we're glad to have you here. We're on a mission to simplify branding so that you can build a brand that sticks. Okay, so today we are talking about brand messaging. Now, some people call this like brand pillars or content pillars. I like to think of it as the foundation of your brand's communication. It's the key ideas that will define who you are and what you stand for and why people should care. The cool thing is there is a formula to creating a great messaging strategy. In fact, what I'm about to share with you is all based on the science of messaging. And then there's some art of keeping it interesting. There are a few ingredients or features that you're going to want in your brand messaging so that you have consistency. So number one is you're going to want clarity so that your audience can understand you in a hot second, because you know we all have the attention span of a goldfish. So you need to be clear as fast as possible. Your messaging strategy also needs to be consistent so that after you have the attention of people, you're able to keep it with consistency, and you have to keep it interesting. So consistent and interesting in your messaging to come across all platforms will really build trust with your ideal clients. Some stats I found while researching this video suggest that just consistency alone can boost revenue by up to 33%. Nice, right? Another thing you're going to want in your brand messaging strategy is some emotional connection. You know, a way to connect with your ideal clients. According to Zippa, 82% of customers prefer to do business with a brand that shares their values. So you really need that emotional connection, my friends. And finally, you're going to want to keep everything relevant. This is a key ingredient to great messaging, and relevant has to be relevant to your target market. Remember, it's not about if your mom gets it or your aunt, your uncle, and your brother and your sister. It's about if the people who are going to hire you get it. So this 4-pillar strategy that I'm going to go through today will work for all of those things. So think about this with your brand messaging strategy. There are so many touch points where your ideal clients are going to interact with you. And each one of those little interactions should confirm that you are consistent. It also should have a little bit of an impact on them, sort of like on their heart, in a way that they like you more and more and more and more every single time they see you. Okay, so here's the cool thing. The science is there's really only 4 ways that we connect with messages. We either are deliberate or quick, and we're emotional or logical. And the fact is that at some point in any relationship where we're building trust, all of us are going to be looking at one of those 4 things. So the people who are quick and logical primarily, what they want to see from you is, what's your big idea? And can you get to your point as fast as possible? Remember that I said you really want to make sure that you get to the point and you're as clear as possible? That's for those people that are quick and logical, and they're going to make a snap decision about doing business with you and your brand. Next kind of person is quick and emotional. And what they need to connect with you is charm. They need fun, they need excitement, they need something that's going to keep them interested and something that's going to keep you interesting. So even though you need consistency, you also want to build in a little bit of surprise with charm into your brand messaging. Now, the third type of people who are deliberate and emotional, what they need is what we call harmony. They're looking for that emotional connection. Remember I said that like over 80% of people will connect with brands, that they will do business with brands they connect with? Well, that's your harmony, my friends. You need to build into your brand messaging strategy something that's like warm and friendly and shows who you are. It shows your values. It shows what you stand for. People want to do business with people that share values with them and know what they stand for. And finally, we have the deliberate and logical. mindset. And this is what we call attainment, or the actually getting things done portion of it. Remember that I said people really want to see relevance, like what's relevant and real to them. They also want to see what's attainable and what it's going to take to make it real. If you're a subject matter expert who's benefiting from your brand because you are actually sharing what you know, you better be able to show people how they can get a result from working with you. And so attainment is a really important part of your overall brand messaging strategy. Okay, so now that I've explained the science of the 4 ways that people connect to ideas, let's talk a little bit about what kind of percentages of people are in each one of those categories. So the idea people make up about 10% of the population. And that means that in order to even get their attention, you have to start with your big idea. Clear, 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 get to your big idea. The charm people make up about 30% of the population. So that part of people that needs to see the excitement and the fun and the charm is like 30% of the population. And then we have harmony, which is all about connecting to the heart. That's about 20% of the population. Finally, rounding out with 40% of the population is the attainment people. Now, here's the cool thing. Even if this is like a portion and a subset of who people are, based on Myers-Briggs numbers, there's also this reality that every single one of us needs to see all 4 of those pillars in messaging to really trust the brands we do business with. Okay, so now there's really only 3 steps to creating a messaging strategy that's gonna work for you. The first step is you wanna know who you are. Why is this so important? I think like the most important part of starting with your brand messaging is knowing who you are, what your values are, what you stand for, and what you offer to your clients. It's so important that you understand, once you work with someone, what's different in their life, that you understand your client journey or your client transformation. So the first thing when you're building your messaging strategy is I want you to start with who are you? What do you stand for? What are your values? What does that look like? There's lots of exercises and I have other videos about creating values, so I'm not gonna go into it right now, but really think about who are you and what do you wanna create in your relationship with your clients. Now here's the cool thing. Ever since AI took over the internet, or it seems like AI took over the internet, I think it's more important that you know who you are and that you're authentic in who you are, because I still believe that people want to connect with people. And so it's so important that you're super duper clear on who you are. According to Influencer Marketing Hub, 81% of consumers need to trust a brand to consider buying from them. So it's so important that you know who you are and you're clear about it and your values. Okay, I think I've said that enough. Let's move on to step 2. Step 2 is really understanding who is your ideal client, who's your like best fit, right fit client that you absolutely love to work with. The one that's going to do 3 things for you. Number 1, they're gonna pay you. Number 2, you love to work with them and they love to work with you. And number 3, they get results from your work. When you think about who are those best fit, right fit, ideal clients, you wanna have a really fleshed out version of your client in your head while you're creating your messaging strategy, so that you know that the messaging strategy you create resonates with that client. It's so, so, so important. And sometimes I giggle because people are like, oh, well, my mom didn't understand it. Well, the fact is, if your mom is not the person who is paying you, plus you love to work with them, plus you get results for them, your mom's opinion doesn't matter that much. What matters is the opinion of your right fit clients. So when it comes down to relevance and you're creating your messaging strategy, you need to be thinking about what's going to resonate with your ideal clients. So, so, so important. Okay, so now that you know who you are and who your clients is, the next step is to create messaging strategy and pillars for each of those 4 categories I talked about at the beginning of the video. So let's walk through them briefly, one at a time with all 4. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say one thing. I know this will work. The science of this works all the time, and it's one way that something will work with messaging pillars. It's also not the only thing you need to do with messaging pillars, and it's probably not the only way you could create messaging pillars. So if you like this, do it. If you don't and you have something else working in your business, use that. I just find that these 4 messaging pillars work all the time because what happens is they appeal to not only what the broadest sense of people need to see, it also appeals to the broadest sense of every person's needs when they're making a buying decision, when they start to trust a brand. So the first one is the logical and quick people. It's where you think about like the big idea and getting to the point as fast as possible. This is where I usually start because frankly, communicating with clarity, your big idea is probably one of the hardest things most people do. It's like, blah, it's a little overwhelming to think about how in 1 or 2 sentences can you explain what it is that you do and the value that you bring to people. So I suggest you grab a pen and a paper for this and you start writing down what are all the options for what your big idea could be and what would that messaging pillar look like in your business. And I'll give you an example. Here at Legacy Creative, our messaging pillar for our idea is that brand is everything and everything is brand. And that's because we really believe that if you understand your brand inside out, it's easier to make every other decision in your business. And so when I said brand is everything, everything is brand, sometimes we use those exact words, but what we want to make sure we're doing is we're always sending that message. And that's how you want to think about the idea portion of your messaging strategy. What is something that will get people's attention quickly and logically, and then you can be consistent about over and over and over again. Okay, number 2 is charm. So it's how do you have that emotional and quick connection with people? And the easiest way to do this is keep it fun, keep it interesting, keep it light, and make people laugh. So when you think about the charm messaging pillar in your brand strategy and in your messaging strategy, what you want to be thinking about is what's going to get people's attention and keep their attention while having some sort of emotional connection, because people do business with people they like. And so I'll give you an example again. At Legacy Creative, what we do is feels and fun and share ideas and share stories of other awesome creators that have created great things. Now, here's why I do that. Remember I said part of good messaging strategy is that it's relevant to your ideal right fit client? Well, at Legacy, our ideal right fit client are people who are super inspired by other people who've just gone and done the thing. So whether it's a musician or it's a business person or it's some historical figure that has been like brave and bold and gone and done the thing, I know that is fun and interesting to my ideal right fit clients. So that's why our charm pillar is all about sharing stories and snippets of people who have really gone and like been bold and taken action. And so again, grab your pen and paper and write down for you and your ideal right fit client, what's the thing that's going to get their attention and keep them entertained? That's what you want to make your charm pillar of your messaging strategy. Okay, number 3 is harmony. And harmony is all about that connection and the value and the heart connection. Remember I said it's something like over 80% of people want to connect through values and they're more likely to do business when they like the business. So this harmony pillar of your messaging strategy needs to be something that really connects with your ideal right fit perfect client. Again, not your mom. Remember who you're talking to. It's so important. So what is the story-based harmony piece of your messaging strategy that's going to work for your people? So at Legacy Creative, what we actually have as our 3rd pillar, which is the harmony pillar of messaging strategy, is that you, our client, and you, the team member of our client, the work that you do matters. You matter. Your legacy matters. That's what I want people to understand. And you know what? It connects us with our right fit client. That is why we have that as our messaging pillar. So think about you and your brand and the impact you have on your clients. What's something that you can create as a messaging pillar that will have them believe not only in you, but also in themselves? It's so important that they believe in themselves and that they believe that they can do whatever it is you're helping them do and that they can achieve it. Okay, finally, number 4, the 4th pillar of your messaging strategy should be all about attainment, or actually getting things done. Or said another way, the nuts and bolts, the how-to, the like showing that you are a subject matter expert. And of course, in some ways, this is the most important because if people are going to work with you, you want them to get a result, right? Like if people are going to continue to work with you, they're going to continue to work with you because you help them get results. And so attainment as part of your brand messaging strategy really is all about the nuts and bolts and the how-to. Now, depending on you and your right fit ideal clients, how deep you go into that nuts and bolts is actually kind of subjective. It's really about as deep as you need to go and not too deep with people. You don't necessarily want to like bury people in advice or bury people in how-tos if that's not part of your brand. But no matter what, your brand has to have some element of attainment to it. It has to have some element of this is how you can get results. I very frequently find a lot of visionaries have a hard time with this attainment piece, and yet a lot of the teams of the visionaries need the attainment piece. So this is a great place if you have an assistant or someone that works with you to really help get clear about what does attainment look like. So I'll give you the example in the legacy creative messaging strategy. What we call the attainment portion of our messaging strategy is the how to and the get things done and actually showing you what that means. So when I create a video like this, I have to spend extra time because I'm a big idea picture thinker, like I'm a big picture thinker. I have to spend extra time going, okay, if I'm gonna explain this to someone, how do I break it down into steps? How do I make it more attainable? How do I make it so that somebody can watch this video and actually be able to create what I'm telling them will help them? And so that's what we do at Legacy Creative is we try to show as many how-to behind the scenes. It also means that we're free and we share with our customers, and sometimes even with our open audience, we share things like templates of how to get something done or frameworks of how to get something done, something that helps them get attainment in their own business and helps them get traction. We'll show them this is how you make a funnel that works. So that's what the messaging pillar looks like in the attainment portion at Legacy Creative. So my question and challenge to you is, what is attainment for your ideal clients? What does it actually look like? How are they different after working with you? Get that clear in your messaging strategy and then start to share that on a consistent basis, and you'll be surprised what happens. So I'm gonna wrap up the 3 steps to a great messaging strategy. Here's what it looks like. Number 1, you need to be really clear about who you are and what you do for your clients. Number 2, you need to be crystal clear about who your right fit, ideal, best fit client is. And remember, those are the people who are going to pay you, they're gonna work with you and you like working with them, and they get results from the work that you do. And then number 3, create that 4-pillar messaging strategy that I walked you through so that your messaging strategy has a big idea, some charm, some harmony, and finally attainment. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, I would love if you share it with other people or subscribe if you're not already subscribed to our channel. We drop a new video on a regular basis that helps you with one of those 4 things I just talked about, either getting more clear on your big idea, creating some charm in your brand, how to do some harmony, or finally what it actually takes to attain building a business that makes a difference. I really appreciate you watching. Until next time, my name is Andrea. Make it a great day.